All right, I guess we're kind of working here. Oh, fuck. Hang on a second. Oh, fuck. I'm not quite clear on some of this yet because I've got multiple channels here. So this is, I've got two machines and two YouTube channels. So I'm a little fucked up here. Hang on a second. I got to tell this one guy. Give me a sec, guys. YouTube. Yeah, I know. I was going to show you my new cool Trade Devils hat, but I got to get this guy. I think that you can just go to youtube.com TradeDevils/indicators. So, sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm trying to get the hat in here. The new. Oh, fuck! You guys have a delay here. Yeah, my wife just got these for me, so we're thinking about making these available, kind of a spiff or bonus. They're kind of cool. I got to get this. Oh shit! I had to do the disclaimer. We'll get it sorted out here, guys. I'm a little fucking ass backwards here, so that. I don't want that there. I want that there. It's a little weird. It's about a 30-second delay, so give me a second to get caught up here. It's weird what I see and what you guys see. It's 30 seconds late. I guess we're streaming, but I've got people texting me saying, where do I get access to the live stream? All right, so we're good. All right, so the disclaimer's been read. I got reminded by a couple of good members that you got to be careful with that. One of my, a fellow live streamer, I guess, got nailed for $3 million because people were taking trades and he had not given them a disclaimer. So that's why we got to do that, and why we talk areas of interest for locations for trades rather than buy here, sell here. They're, just so you understand, it's not that it's not that I'm uncomfortable giving you those locations. It's just we can't. I'm not a registered trade advisor here, so I can't do that the way you might like to have it done. Okay, let me get sorted here. So I guess so I see we got a few of you guys on. Erwin, you good? Sound, video, good. I just see a couple. I see Grumpy. I see Erwin. Grumpy OG. God damn, there's like a good 60-second delay. Okay, so if you guys are gonna chat me. You can hear me perfect. Okay. All right, now. I have to warn you guys, when it's moist like this, like it is here, it's raining, my allergies get to be insane. Matter of fact, I've got a follow-up appointment today at 2:30 with an allergy specialist to see if I can get some relief from this, because it's just absolutely unbearable. I mean, it's just awful, right? I mean, that's why I'm looking at moving. Okay, so let me try and Jesus Christ, I get focused on the market here. So I guess I can keep you guys over here. Well, apparently the market is now already pricing in rate cuts. It doesn't take them long to figure out a way to take it higher, right? Market always, and forever wants to go higher. Always. That never changes. Let's go to Portugal. Right. I mean, I threaten that. Moving to Portugal. I'm semi-serious about that. Okay, so we got, it's just weird. We got like a 60-second delay here. Okay, so market, do we even have our open? Here's our open, just relentless grind higher. Seems to be a pattern. Whenever we do a live stream, I get just grind higher, right? I don't get a lot of trend changes here. So you guys know I like to be very interactive with my chart, so I draw on it a lot. I'm looking for geometry, something here that I can work with beyond just what I see, what the indicators are showing me. I mean, is there really anything to do here other than wait for a retrace? So what we'd like to see here, and we'll get the footprint chart in here, is something like this, right? To come down here, hit that structure. There's the pre-market high, which we know algos will use, right? We saw them using it yesterday. Let's see now. Am I, hang on a second, 25.75. Am I locked up here? I could be locked up here. I have been having some trouble with Ninja the last couple of days. It looks like I am locked up. Because I'm looking at Bookmap, and I am not moving, and Bookmap is moving. So, potential problem here. These practice live streams are so helpful. We'll get a real one going eventually. So, Erwin, I'm locked up at the moment. Son of a bitch. I did do a couple of updates, some indicators yesterday, and I had a little bit of trouble yesterday. Potentially a short live stream if there's going to be a problem. And now, you guys have probably experienced this. If you click on a chart and if it goes dark, it's not coming back. So I'm a little bit concerned. That's what I've got going on here. If I click on this chart, I'm going to lose it. Oh, shit, guys. Yeah, I'm locked up again. So where are we at? 22? Yeah, I'm frozen at 25.75. Son of a bitch. Well, let's just see here. It may be a short one. Oh, you guys. Oh man, there is a serious delay here. Hang on a second. Kill it with the task meter. Okay. So, Erwin's telling me that I'm locked up here. Yeah. So I'm locked up. Okay, guys, bear with me. I'm gonna have to fucking reboot here. We'll give this one try. If it doesn't fly, we'll try again. I'm not sure why, but last couple of days I've had multiple reboots here. Well, if it doesn't play ball today, we'll be back on Thursday, perhaps a little better organized. Oh, come on. All right. Bear with me. It's frustrating, I know. And my system takes a long time to load. Yeah, I can look over on TradingView. Okay, let's see if we get data. Oh, bear with me a sec. Let's get this back up here. Try it again. Let's see. Did I lose you guys? I can't even tell where we are. It's a weird delay. Okay, let's try again. Not the start I would have liked to have made here. Oh, there's much to do though. Looks like we had a little sell-off here because I've got live data over on Bookmap. Okay, that's not good. Okay. So this is partly, I've got some beta product here that TDI Dev sent to me last night that we may have a few bugs in here. So let's see here if I can. Oh, son of a bitch. I might have too many trouble. Shit. Let's hang on. I got a lot of this message, Erwin. Unable. I don't know what that means, but we'll try and go here. Okay. Do I have good 423? Do I have good data? Not yet. 2225. Not live data yet. I'm afraid to touch this. It's going to lock up. Okay, footprint's okay. 23, 21 and a quarter. So this is lagging. What a bummer. Ninja is a great product when it's working. Okay, there we go. But it does have a lot of trouble. Oh, I guess I'm not going to be taking any trades. We can take that off. Waiting. Okay, come on. Cancel that. Let's get this. And all right, guys. Back in business. Okay, so I like this over on the other side. All right, where are we at? 9:52. All right, we lost 20 minutes. All right, so right off the bat, pretty good looking channel here. Running out of steam up at the top. Okay, so I'm going to try and be responsive here to, as you guys were asking about, a little bit of more insight onto the footprint indicator. I think perhaps on Thursday we'll do, Erwin had a good suggestion that, and Jeff also suggested this last week, that we focus on one indicator, kind of an AMA, I guess was I'd not heard that term before, and Ask Me Anything kind of format on the footprint indicator. So let me get that. I guess that's a lot of people made that investment and are curious about it. Excuse me. Allergies are going to be a bitch today. So I think maybe on Thursday what we'll do is we'll get both Erwin and I on. I think we can both be on at the same time because he's going to be a better resource for all of the different functionality in here. I mean, I explained to you how I use it and what I focus on when I'm looking at it. I never use it by itself. It's always in conjunction with a candlestick chart, and then I come here for timing and entry. And as I explained earlier in the week, for those of you that were on that, what I'm looking for is for example, if I think this is a potential pivot location for whatever reason. I mean, we got some unfinished business here. That's the open. What I'm looking for always is I get insight into where I can see size that's in trouble. It's going to have to cover, right? So these guys are they're clenching, right? They're nervous. Right now I got golden zones right here, and yesterday was a great example of you cannot assume they're going to break, right? You'll be down $300 in a minute because you're going to get a reaction there unless there's just big horsepower here. So these guys got to be a little bit nervous, but you also got to be, let's see, looking at these guys up here, right? So how are they going to react? Are they going to play defense when we get here? So here we are at a golden zone. So I like to do this so I can see. So I want to see not just a wick go through. I want to see that we get a close and that there's trading above it. Wouldn't surprise me that we get it here. And this looks like you've got just a little micro going in here, right? So it looks like that. Now here, so yes, we get wick that goes through, but look at that. See, that's what I mean. You got to wait because if you bought it here, you're already down, if you're in a 2 or a 3 lot, you're stopped out, right? You're down $300-400 already just off the intra-bar swings here because of the reaction at the golden zone. So this is just not a great place to enter. I mean, you almost have to wait because we can see it, right? So if you wait, well, then, boy, there really needs to be follow through. They're going to have to come up here and challenge these guys, which now maybe we get that. So here we are hitting the algo target. But you almost want to see it come back down here and test and then go, right? You need to be out of the potential pivot here. Let's get that out of there. So I got a 400 lot I'm looking at bookmap here up at 429.50, 29.50 up here, up in this range. So looks like we're going to deal with this. Oh, so I'd be kind of watching here. Okay, so I got a lot of congestion here. I got nothing but a squeeze since we opened. And I'd be watching over here, right? So what are the buy programs doing so far? You know, they didn't really fire until we started heading lower. So the low tick of the day is 368, high 609. There's plenty of upside here. So there's room for this to keep going. Now, as we come out of a squeeze, remember, this is the little secret ingredient here. When you come out of the squeeze, what size is the McGinley on? Right? Or just what color is it? So here, we're not out of the squeeze yet, but as we come out of it, it's going to give you a head start as to which direction we're going to go. We are still in the squeeze, right? Until we break out of that. But look at the McGinley leading it. That's why I use that, right? So it's a combination of, I don't want to miss a squeeze if I don't have it down here, if I'm using something that's not going to identify like the edge or the McGinley River that'll have a squeeze built into it. I want it on the chart. So I know, okay, if I'm buying that, I'm still buying into this contraction. So what's really happening here? That, right? Sideways. All the trend. You guys know that Erwin gave me this number. I can't remember it. I want to say it was 65 or 70% of the movement in the S&P it happens outside of RTH. So, I mean, here's a perfect example, right? We open, we go sideways, but all the movement is pre-market. Perfect example. So right now, trading range, you don't have any real advantage here. The enthusiasm for this move has waned, but you'd be anticipating one more push up here to challenge this high, right? That's just the trend line idea. Okay, so here's the break. It's a long sideways break, but you'd be anticipating a push to break that high. Okay, wait a second. Okay, 10 a.m. data existing home sales. Thanks, Grumpy OG. I do have that over here. And it is easy to forget them. So I keep a 2-minute RTH. I have all of this over here. Oh, that must be, it doesn't register as major, so it doesn't give me a notification here. Okay, so fulfilling that expectation here that we'd challenge this high, there's plenty of headroom here, plenty of room for this to rip. So if we bring this back down, right, do you have the ingredients here? Let's look at it this way. These guys already got squeezed, right? They all had to cover. Now, what you're kind of looking for is the same thing likely to happen here. Are these guys potentially in trouble if we start to roll down? Because I can see these guys had to cover. Here was probably the last attempt to hold it down as they were coming into all of this. Oh, let's get the volume profile on. So here's our POC. All right, pretty good rip. Okay, right, and see, there's plenty of headroom here. Plenty of room for that to go, right? Our pivot high is up here at the open. So how is this helping me? Well, certainly I can see bulls are chasing the break of that pivot. Do you want to buy that? Well, I don't, right? I'm going to wait, right? I want to wait till that comes down a little bit because look how the other thing it's important to pay attention. Well, look at the distance from whether you're using a McGinley or a 21 or a 20, right? It almost doesn't matter, right? The 21 McGinley, the 21 EMA it's like a home base. It's like the reversion to the mean, and you'll see the market will continually come back to it. When we get too far from it, the temptation is to think, oh, it's just going to keep going. But if you get too far from it, the odds are more likely that you're going to come back towards it. Now, okay, we've got big movement here, but again, Steve, that's too far for me. I'd be waiting for this to come back down. Maybe test some of this. Okay, how do we look here? There's a 50. If we're going to come back down, are these guys going to defend? That's what I'm looking for. Who's off sides, and where can I see potential size that's going to defend? Let me get what I got up here. Lots of bait being thrown in the book up above. There's a 200 lot at 40.40. Okay, I think I'm good here if you guys are chatting. Okay, so let's come back down here. All right, so that's I always keep that above me. So here's the move to a new high that we get. So you might, again, I like to just keep, there's some key entry points here. So as we come back down here, this would be an area of interest, right? So if we come down here and we get a decent setup, look, it's exactly right at the POC. All of that's kind of now. Are we going to get that? Well, we don't know, but that's what you're looking for. So I try and visualize it. What's the trade I'm hoping gets offered to me here? Well, here I'm coming right into a 50, right into the IB mid, right into the POC. Okay, maybe it'll offer that up. Oh, get out of there. I got a second entry short here rather than a second entry long. 1, 2, 3, if that holds there. So 1, 2, 3. I'd like it better down here. So let's see if I can do these side by side. So we're kind of back into that range that I was just looking for. Is that deep enough? Well, this is where, having the screen real estate, no real edge there. We're kind of neutral above 0, but we're not getting a full loop. So buy programs are kicking. I don't know if that's making it better or worse to bring that in here. That's probably a buyable scalp. You might wait, right? So if you're cautious, you always want to try and get, if you can, right? And sometimes you're going to have to front run it. But look at the gap between the signal line and the RSI, right? So that's sort of like the gap to the McGinley. I'd like to see that get closer, because here's the move you want, right? That's the one where we test it and then we just rip, right? Just like on the way down. So this is, granted, right? These always lag. This is more confirmation. But right now, that's not saying hurry up and be a buyer. You'd like to see it at least be heading towards the signal line here in terms of leaning on that as an indicator. There's a little bit of a break, but you gotta think like a bear as well, right? What are they doing? So here, right? So it kind of kept you out of trouble. There's no signs of buyers yet. We're at a golden zone. No close below it. I mean, to me, I would not want to buy right into that fair value gap, right? That's just, that gives the edge to the bears. So why would I want to make the assumption, even though it might break, right? They might just rip right through it. I don't want to make that assumption. See, if you do it, that to me, if I do this and I get stopped out, then I just like, well, what are you doing? You bought right into a fair value gap, you dumbass. So a lot of times I'm thinking about, well, if I take that trade, I mean, how much do I like it, right? Is it really set up what I'm looking for? And right now, okay, I got a golden zone, but I'm really just, it looks to me like I'm in a range, right? I'm just doing this. Had a lot of squeeze. Buyers are not particularly enthusiastic here. Again, these lag, but they're great for confirmation. So to be overly aggressive here just because you wanted it to go higher, boy, that sure kept you out of trouble. So what looks interesting? So the VWAP here and the golden zone down here looks more interesting. So this is fulfilled. This is fulfilled. This now is my new, Jesus, my keyboard has been, I changed the batteries yesterday too. Like it right here, right? So this would be the clear area of interest down here, right? This is what we'd be looking for. Okay, so we're getting a pretty good pretty good move down here, right? You see those second entries come into play here. There's your second entry short, second entry short. Okay, pretty good rip down. What's happening down here, right? So am I getting to where that looks interesting? Okay, so now I look up and I go, okay, what has to happen to get these guys in trouble, right? How much push here that's going to take these guys are going to have to really rip for these guys to feel uncomfortable, right? Clearly, bears have the edge here. So what you'd be looking for is that to come back up, and then perhaps they defend, and then we get a deeper push. So that's what I'm always looking for is who's in trouble, who's going to need to cover, and is there big size here? I mean, that's pretty good size right there, 500 lot. This isn't huge. Look at this. Here's a 576. There's almost 700 contracts right there. That's probably the start of it. Pushes it down. Okay, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. How are they going to defend that? Michael Embry. Okay, Michael, when you say defend, do you mean defend if they come back up to defend this? Not sure what you mean there. How are they going to defend it? They're going to defend it by selling the fuck out of it, right? They're going to put some size on it there. Right? That's the only way they can defend it. Back to the POC. So one of the advantages of being tactile, right, and drawing on your chart is we get reminded of the expectation. If I've got a good trend line here, or again, this is all Al Brooks teaching. If I've got a good trend line here, if we break, retail is going to be inclined to buy it. But what we'd be anticipating is that there's another push down to, because retail's always wrong, right? So they want to buy. Now that doesn't mean that this couldn't ramp. It's just in terms of potential entry. Well, I got one first entry here. If we go again, I'd have a potential second entry. But look where the McGinley is. What I'd rather do is see it come back up here, and if I got a second entry here, then look for that to come back down. Because the expectation is I got 1, 2, 3. Here's the little break. Now I'm looking for a test of that low, which might bring me back into this golden zone, which puts me back at VWAP where I've got a low volume node where this all of a sudden looks interesting. Okay, so here's the little hook. All right, we got a little shark fin down. I guess Erwin mentioned he's going to start putting shark fins in, which is kind of one of the hallmarks of the TDI. Jeff would know that. Michael Embry, yes. How are they going to defend that? So I think that's what you meant. I think that's what you meant. All right, so I go back and forth now. So I'm going to look over here on the RTH. What do I see here? I got a big gap. 25, 50, 75, here's the gap fill. Well, of course, bulls are going to try and hold it up here. But odds are there's going to be a test to break those lows, right? So that, which would be consistent with what we just looked at, right? So you're looking for a test of that low. This is just, let's see. So Mac, we don't know his real name, or maybe we did. But Mac, Thomas Wade, Al Brooks, all guys that really focus on this stuff. They're doing it without indicators, which seems to me, okay, is that some macho thing, right? Oh, I don't use indicators because okay, well, that's, if they're adding value, if there's some badge of honor to not be using them, I think that can be kind of a silly position to take. Okay, so we don't cross over here. This is rising around. Just because it's red, the fact that it's rising means so I've got a potential second entry setting up here, right? So there's 1, 2, right, coming up. We get the right sell off here, and then you'd be looking for that. So so this, ideally, you want to try and time it where we're over 400. Even in the yellow zone here would be okay. So coming into the 50. Now, that's not a bar that's screaming, I want to sell. That's a bar screaming, look out. That would be a big signal bar, because your entry would be way down here. But you can see the potential there for that to be a second entry. Okay, so let's bring it over here as we kind of keep an eye here. All right, so these guys, right? So here's the, I think Michael, this is what you're talking about, right? So this is where they got to defend, right? So here's the big one though. This is where the size was, right here. Right, are they going to defend that here? There's a 700 lot there. That's tradable. You know, I might take a 2 lot there off of that golden zone. Right, so you just tap the golden zone here. These guys are defending. These guys are, you know, they're likely to defend as well. So there's possibly a trade sitting right there for a scalp. That's a little big. I really want all of that. I would want to see this clear McGinley. Right, so you're sitting at neutral, right? That's essentially, you have no real edge here other than, well, what'd you get there? Right? If you tick this off the golden zone, there's 14 ticks already. You know, see, sometimes you look at it and you think, oh shit, there's not enough there. But you know, 5 ticks comes pretty fast, right? Which I'll typically use for my scalps, trying to get 2 out at 5, and then let a runner based on what I see here. So all this, what do we? So back to the pre-market mid to another golden zone. So you can see the potential here is these guys now defend. Well, let's see what happens here. Right, you damn near often you can see the algo fire. Right, you'll see some size come in here. Let's see if we get it here. We may not. So there's a little poke through. They're trying to push it, right? So you're literally watching the algo fire there. I don't know if you guys realize that. All right, now whether doesn't mean they can hold it. So do you see the battle here from this golden zone to this golden zone? That's all. This is just computers fighting it out. But decent here. So what makes that trade? What made that trade workable? Well, one, you got up into the higher zone here. You got almost 800 as we were hitting that golden zone here. You had the potential for these guys to be defending, right? We talked about that, right? So can these guys defend that? Well, this is likely the area where they're going to defend. That's what you're using the footprint chart to say, oh, okay, well, are these guys going to be a little nervous if this starts to come down? Well, now what do we have here? We just have rotation, right? This is just the, okay, we're up, we're down, right? They're just probing, okay, where's liquidity? So that's where something like Bookmap or Ninja has some tools that can show you where there's liquidity. Bookmap is just it's just a premium version of that. If that's important to you, and it's a lot of people trade very successfully, don't pay any fucking attention to that at all. So here, notice how we continue to rotate back towards the 21 McGinley. So it becomes a base camp to just remind yourself, okay, where am I in relation to the McGinley? Now, as we roll over here, so there's the second entry. So as we look at it here, it's a little bit easier to spot. So here's the push. This is, again, a great example of why you never assume it's going to break. You always assume it's going to hold. You'll be right more than you'll be wrong. So decent here, okay. Here, this was the second entry. So same thing, right? That's how we start to draw again. So here's the downtrend. It breaks. They're anticipating a break of this, right? So you would anticipate that this is the target to get because there's going to be stops right here. We know that. So what do we do? Here, right? Just coming, same thing. Now, where's the target? Down here, where we have a low volume node, which might be interesting. So this is the second entry, right? So here's this 1, 2, right? Break here. There's your second entry. I keep drawing, right? Okay, I got something happening here. If it breaks, right? So here's the realization of the push to get to that new low. Okay, now we're back to an area of interest. We're at a golden zone. So here's the golden zone. Here's the VWAP, and here's a low volume node. But that's not a buy bar. We're just finishing up the, oh shit, to really do the whole thing, right? You have to do it this way, right? Swing, 1, 2, right? A, B, C is how I look at it, right? I have to get my head around thinking second entry. I just see A, B, C. Okay, we're gonna hold here. So that's where you're looking up here going, okay, who's potentially in trouble here? These guys clearly have the upper hand. What's going to get them nervous, right? This is not huge size. There's 280, 200, 130. Okay, there's some size, right? So now, okay, but that's actually, what time is it? 10:15. Okay, that's just what you want to see at an IB low, right? Because if this starts to rip, these guys are going to have to cover, right? They have to cover, damn near already, right? Look at the size there. That's what you're looking. That's a great example of how to use a footprint chart. At least that's how I use it. Because these guys, right, they're going to struggle, right? There'll be some defense up here, but if this starts to kick, they're going to be the fuel to kick it higher because they got to cover. That's big size in there. All right, let's get this off of here. IB low is not. Now look what we did here. Right? So your eyes have to go from the candlestick to the footprint to the tick chart. You know, that's why trying to follow multiple markets can be a disadvantage. You get to where you really know a market if you're trading it every day. So look over here, right? They're trying to keep it from breaking there. They don't want to they don't want that gap fill. Right? Bulls are going to try and hold it up there. Are these guys nervous yet? Let's see what we got. Trying to keep a better eye on the chat there. Okay, what's happening, right? So we went down. I got a low of the day down here. This is my tick low of the day as these guys dumped in that size. They're clenching right now. I mean, it's more than you think, right? You take a 300 lot there, and you're already down 13 ticks. That's size, right? So that's just a good example. Now, if we come back down to it, so remember, think if it's you, right? So if you went short here, what happens? If you come back down here, you're thinking, oh, fuck, get me out of break even, right? So often that can be additional buying. You don't want to, right? Remember, those can change intra-bar. So just because you see something flash, right? Don't immediately jump on it. It doesn't look like we had a full 50 there. We might have. Not quite. Okay, little tussle between these guys. But what I think is a mistake is to try and read, oh, okay, here it's 16. Oh, there's 147 versus 208, right? So, oh, okay, I can buy it. I think that's not the way. I think you drive yourself crazy doing that. So here's the realized new low here. So look at that, God damn, that's just, I cannot make this shit up, right? So here, this is to the tick, golden zone to the tick, target to the tick. You know it's an algo, right? Okay, so here, this is a downtrend that gets a break, right? So there'll be another push to try and get to that low. If they can't get it, then you have potentially a second entry going up the other direction. If they can't get a new low here, what do I get? Right, I get that. Look where we are in relation to the McGinley. So the move into this order block, it's a little after the fact. Probably too easy to say after the fact. But I would keep drawing here. Might have something bigger. I have to wait and see if I get another pivot here. I'll wait on that. This is already realized its potential here. Generally, you want to, try and buy below 400 and sell above 400, right? It's really that simple. So when it's at neutral, you're kind of rolling dice. You're kind of, maybe I'll get it. You want to try and use this to your advantage, which is this. There is one for the NQ. It's nowhere near as effective, in my opinion. For the ES and the YM, this is really an advantage. It's additional insight that we get into what's happening with the buy-sell programs. So right here, this just tells me, okay, I got a little consolidation. There's not really a lot happening here. I mean, it's the day before the Fed. Not surprising that we don't have a lot of activity, although the day is definitely very young. All right, so they're still trying to hold this here, right? That was the low. That's the IB. So we got 10 minutes to the IB low. You'd rather have it be away. Is there enough there to trade? Well, just look, right? What distance to the McGinley? I'd rather be trading closer to it, right? If you look at where the moves came from, you'll find that it's often, right, and as it collides with think of it as the mean. That's how I think of it. This is not really telling me that bulls are scrambling here to defend. $300 lot up at 40.20. Same, such a gem. Doing a dedicated tutorial focused on that one Indy. Yeah, we're gonna do Lightheart. Yeah, we're gonna get there. To be perfectly honest, I need Irwin's to back me up on that, because as I always describe it, I can drive, but I'm not a mechanic. So when we get into the nuances of what about that feature there, if I'm not using it, I'm not a good resource for it, right? I show you guys how I use these tools. But Irwin is someone who, because he wrote the code, who can explain it to you. So I think on Thursday, per Lightheart, you guys know him as Lightheart made that suggestion where we'll do kind of a ask me anything on an indicator, and we'll let the market play as well, because some of you guys are using this differently than I do, right? Some of you set it up differently. I know. I am the money. He has an interesting setup here where he puts all of his bid ask on one side and volume on the other side. I just try and keep it simple, because this is what I'm focused on here. Is this? I want to see these guys here. What are they doing? Where are they in trouble? Right? You'd think, right, that this would be, oh, everybody can see it. So I think on Thursday we'll try that Lightheart and I am the money and see if that gives you guys a better resource just than how I use these things. And I think with this I can just hand off mic to him back and forth. So we'll try that. Okay, I don't see anything from you guys here. Okay. So this. Right, so here you kind of see it materialize. Here's the break. Here's the channel. Here's the break. Here's the push to get to new lows, right? Retrace McGinley, right? It's pretty, does this over and over again. Now we've got another little micro channel setting up right here. You really want to try and get 3 hits to confirm the channel. I got 1, I got 2, I got 1 more here, and I got an order block here. So if this comes up here and the tick is in the right location, you might be playing for that. Tick's on the low end here, and I'm too far, so it's not an ideal spot. I'd rather have it come back up, get closer to the McGinley. So where are we at? 1024. This is interesting to me over here. I got a collection of golden zones down here at all these low volume nodes, so ripe areas for Madonna to play. Oh, just so this doesn't become a clusterfuck. Let's do it this way as well. Looks like we've got this channel in play. Only got 2 hits up here. Probably an internal as well. Let's do it this way. So get a bit of a wedge forming here. They're not attacking the lows. Where are we? Right, this would be golden zone from the overnight lows. Let's measure that. Here's my absolute low. Right, so here's the golden zone at the low end here. If we're coming down to that, that's the dominant golden zone. Oh, let's get you out of there if I can. How many golden zones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them so far have hit. Okay, so here we are. All right. It's okay. Too close to the IB for me, right, to try and chase that. If anything, I'd be looking for another push up here and that to come back down. That would be the trade that would be setting up here for the IB. So ideally, this does a full loop. It may not. You can see they're losing the battle to try and hold the gap. once we get, well, this is, you'd really like to see it get further away. You'd like to see it get up here and then come down to it, right? And that's the trade. Now, as we get closer, right, this is where footprint really has an advantage, because I can see, right, there's another good example. Okay, there's pretty good meat here, right? When do these guys get in trouble? That's some good size there. Good size here. Interesting. Look. All right, so this is the kind of thing to pay attention to, right? Where that size is. So you're going to have to get over that to cause them to any distress. 1026, too soon. How we doing over here? Oh, you guys are quiet. Shit, I hope I'm still streaming. All right. Pushing the IB low at 27. You know, you guys have heard me say this. You really don't want to be setting it at 1030. You want it to be set and then to be challenged. Which I just tell you from watching this trade for years now. Okay, ideally, you get up to the McGinley. 27. Still 3 minutes to go. Still not time yet. But boy, the location down here is ripe. You'd have the pre-market mid. It's a big cluster down here. Losing a little steam down here, although this last swing had no retracements. There's the little consolidation that's in the Pat's indicator, which I like. Just tells me, okay, I'm not in a squeeze, but I'm in a tight little range there. You can kind of see it breaking this wedge, right? So I mean, you can just tradable. I wouldn't. That's counter trend. Why? Right? Clearly, we're in a downtrend. So if anything, you're looking for, okay, if we get up here and get to that golden zone at POC or at VWAP, do I get a decent signal bar for a potential short? Okay, now I've got a little break here of this channel. I'm back to McGinley. That's a pretty big bar, so you wouldn't want to be entering down here. So what you'd hope is to get a little bit further here, you get a better entry bar. How are we doing? 28. So the setup now is good. Oh, come here. Go a little bit higher, right? Ideally, and then come down to it. See here, now it lags, right? But it just shows you who's in charge. That's not a bar that screams sell me. I'm green on the RSI, and I'm neutral on the tick. But it would be shocking should this not get a test. Got a pretty good cluster over here as well. First little squirt up here, so we went 2 times the ATR on this bar. We could. Not as good. Better as a wedge. Downtrend, right? So what you'd be looking for here, if we got a break here, you'd be anticipating a test to go after those lows. Okay, let's see. We come into it. Can I do it this way? Maybe I can do it that way. Put it over here. Ripe, right? All the kind of support you want to look for. So far, it's playing ball, right? You want it to come up here and then come back down. Okay, 1030, so we have our IB. Again, that's kind of a meaty bar to be taking a short off of. Order block up here is interesting. again, I'm trying to get you to get your eye tuned into the little ABCs, what you're looking for, and then that second entry would bring you down. So there's golden zones and at the McGinley, but that's not a great signal bar, right? And you're still neutral over here, and bulls are in charge here. That would be a little, you wouldn't want to sell it right here, right at the order block low, but that would be your potential entry here. Ideally, you get a little hotter here. Up to the 50 and circle it. Oh, where did my footprint go? Can I do it this way? Maybe I can do it this way. Okay, so what's happening here? Right, so this is why you want to do that, right? So obviously this is where bears, if they can, they're going to defend here, right? They push, they're committed here to the short side. So not surprising here that they're going to defend here. Okay, here we go. That's looking good. Now remember, what we're looking for is something like this, right? We want to see bears be overly aggressive here and get in trouble. Back to where you'd expect them to defend. They're going to try and get these guys in trouble. They're going to try. Bulls getting overwhelmed. Right to the McGinley. Right, so think of it. That's how I think of it. I don't know if it helps you or not. It's reversion to the mean. Right, we're back to base camp. It tends to be more when they go after it. Like this is not enough to be worrying about. All right, so hopefully that makes sense, right? You see, okay, well, that's obviously they're committed here. There's no big, I don't see anything huge down here where they really stepped in. There's a 200 lot, but that's nothing. Okay, here we go. Come down for it. So have your stops accordingly, right? I did read my disclaimer, right? I Am the Money shared the story with me about, I won't mention his name, but apparently not reading that disclaimer is a bad idea. I had not heard that story. Okay, 1034. This is what I'm watching right here. I'd love to see it under 800, right? But a lot of times you got to go with what you see here. You've got a lot of support down here, but we don't want this to go too far. This is the big one. If it gets too far, then it'll be the resistance. So it's drop. Kind of depends, right? If this gets really pinned, right? There was a couple of times last week early where we were 1200, right? You almost have to take that. T's. You'd like it lower if you can get it. And you want somebody to overcommit here. They're making an effort here. That's nice. Confluence, VWAP, GZ, McGinley, silently listening. Okay, good. As long as you guys, it's a weird thing to be talking to yourself. I'm not sure, so it's good for me to get a little feedback from you guys over here, although I miss half of it. Okay, so come on, guys. We got a 50 and a golden zone here right in the middle of it. This is key. Okay, there we go. So it's not broken yet. I did that yesterday. So there's a pretty good break. Now, these guys potentially in trouble, right, if we come back in. Nothing yet. This is ripe. Not yet. I want to get them back in. I might even wait to get above that. Now you can go. Go, 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 go. Stop under the low. Go, go, right. So they get, this is the resistance right here. You should have your scalps out, right? You should be, what'd you get there? You got 9 ticks already. I'd be stopped under the low, right? Why take any additional risk? You want these guys to be panicking. This, you'd like to see that go a little bit hotter. No, don't stay with it. If they dump, they're going to dump hard here. Holding. This would be a good target up here if we can get that. The book, you're on both sides of it. There's some, they're waving a flag up at 12. Up at 12. Here, there's orders in the book up here. Probably these guys here. We can just defend. Right, there's enough size right there. Hopefully you still got a runner, right? Your stop's down here, so you've essentially got a free trade. I typically take 3, so scalps cover your, if you were to take a hit. Right back to the, okay, so now these guys are going to be sweating. You'd like to see this make a full loop, right? If we can get on the other side of the McGinley, all these guys are going to have to cover, and we could get back to the open. Right now they're nervous, right? So here's the battle right here with these guys. Who wins that? There's headroom here. This is the next leg, right? They got to get these guys right here in trouble. So there's some meat right there. I mean, you guys all, Jesus. Please tell me some of you guys got this today. Please, please, please. What we got there? There's 18 ticks. Okay, let's see. So that just now was the first test of the IB low, right? So the scalp you're trying to sell us every day. I'm not trying to sell it to you every day, Vertic. I'm trying to encourage you to look for the opportunity there, because I've been watching this for 5 years, and I'm telling you there's an algo that sits there that fades it every fucking day. So when I'm not trying to sell you that trade. I'm trying to tell you of that trade. I mean, this happened. It's not 100%, right? There are days where they just dump. You can see it coming, right? That's the advantage of the footprint. You could see something like this. They will just crush it with size. But when they don't, this is just easy money. And it's not just the ES. This happens in every market at the IB. There's an algo at every one of them. I just focus on the ES, right? Because I've got 7 charts open, right? If I start to... I've tried to do it with multiple charts open in multiple markets, and it slows Ninja. You got it, S. Shannon. Good man. Good man, right? So, I mean, this is what it takes for me to literally walk you guys through it. I mean, it wasn't that hard, right? You saw the thing go. You knew these guys were in trouble. Definitely these guys right here were in trouble. That 241 lot here, they were in trouble. Just them covering is enough to get your scalps out. And now it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Where are we back to? Right where you knew you were going to run into these guys, right? Where you're back at a golden zone here. So, right, there's the golden zones, right? Now, don't assume that's going to break. That would have been a great target here from this move here. Great target. Don't assume that's going to break. Assume it's going to hold. These guys are sure as fuck going to defend it. That doesn't mean they can, but they're going to try. There it is, right? So 2, 3 lots. Geez, I didn't even need my disclaimer today. Hopefully you guys got that. Right? It was again, it's not that complicated, right? You're looking for this to be below ideally 600. You're looking for the reaction. If you don't have to have the footprint. I mean, that's the advantage, right, is having the footprint. You can see where they get their offsides, but here you had enough. This might have gotten you a little bit worried here, this rejection here on this wick. It might have been a little bit nerve-wracking here, but look, once we crossed, I mean, again, these lag, but once you cross that center line here on that next bar here, right here, you're back to VWAP. Now, note what just happened here. We broke the channel. Right, so we've got we got 1, 2, 3 hits on that channel. What the implication is, it's not a certainty. The implication is there's going to be another push down to test that low. And look who's down here. Right, it's not a certainty. It's just this is the. I mean, Al Brooks has a great course. God, it's long and I got to say it is fucking boring. But if you get nothing else out of it, just the trend line rule is worth the gold. Right? It doesn't even sell. It's not even very expensive. It is a slog to get through it. I got to tell you, he's not a great. He's not a dynamic speaker. I say it that way. But the content sure is good. Okay, so back here, right now we're off the footprint. Now I got a little uptrend going here, right? So the same idea here. There's a. Just because I'm going to keep mentioning this to you here. So we're coming out of the squeeze now. Look where the McGinley is, right? So look, every time we have a squeeze, when we come out of the squeeze, where's the McGinley? What color? What side is it on? I mean, now trace it back, right? Look for every time. Now here we're still in the squeeze. Well, you're right in the pocket there. That's a little iffy. See, the benefit of following the trend line rule is that I have a bias here that's based off of norms of pattern recognition, right? So if this breaks here, likely we're going to come down and test this. And I got lots of meat down here, so I want them to test that. One, they're going to try and fill the gap. They still haven't filled the gap. They're holding here at the IB low to try and fill the gap, but odds are they're going to make an effort to fill it. Okay, so if they come down here, look, I've got all this imbalance. I got these golden zones here. I've got the pre-market mid. I've got lots of juicy levels down here that are potential pivots. So I want them to break it. Ivan, got it. Good man. Where's the target? The target, Ivan, on these is you have to use a little bit of judgment. There is no. I mean, some people will use a risk-reward ratio. I don't. I kind of improv the target based on what I see there. So for me, that was clearly, this was, I mean, again, we talked through it, right? So it wasn't like, oh, I just randomly drew that in. Like, well, okay, well, that's likely an area where you're going to find some defense. We did get to the other side of the McGinley, but that was a decent target. So, I mean, if that was me trading, I'd have 2 out with 5 ticks, and, oh, well, shit, I'd probably taken it there. There's 20 ticks, right? So decent trade. So that gives you a nice, well, there's a couple of things. One, if that's your first trade of the day, which it's usually not my first trade of the day, but if that can be a get well trade if you had a loser early in the day. If that was your first trade of the day, well, now you got 2, 3, depending on your size there, a few hundred in your account here to give you a little bit, you might take a little more risk the first trade is always the most important, right? I assume you guys would agree, right? If you're down 300 or 400 or whatever the case may be, mentally, right now you're in catch up. Right, so choose that first trade wisely, right? You don't want to just throw one in there. And if you are going to throw one in there, don't throw in a 3 lot. Or trade micros, right? Just get okay, how's the market moving? How am I feeling today? Am I seeing it, right? Am I in sync here? Is it following the kind of things that I look for? Throw it in a micro, and if it starts to go your direction, add 4 more. You're not going to get spanked hard, right? With full size in a 3 lot, 10 ticks, you're in pain, right? And your day gets changed. Okay, well, so this is kind of interesting, right? So the fact that they don't get a new low here is interesting, right? So they wanted to, right? There's stops down here. The fact that they don't get that new low is a sign of strength here. So I'd be back here going, okay, where am I? All right, well, here's the little break here. So the same thing applies here. Here's the break of this trend line. That's going up to get new highs here. Same concept. Assuming that makes sense, right? Here's the uptrend. Here's the break of the trend line. Now here's the push to get a new extreme. You could probably play with this a little bit. We're still, emphasis still, looking for a break of that low, right? Based off of this massive trend channel. And what do I have here? This is setting up as a potential, right? I got this here, but now I'm way too far from the McGinley. So I might do this, right? It's usually the first couple of pivots that will set the channel. Well, you're coming back into, again, just visually, I can look at this and go, okay, well, all of that sure looks like that was some support. Is that potentially resistance? Well, that's a pretty big candle to be going into that with. And I got a fair value gap underneath it, and I'm on the other side of the McGinley, so there's nothing here really screams at me I want to take a short there. I mean, maybe if you're very aggressive here, I'd like to see that get over 800. I'd be a little more inclined to take it. I do have this. No, I don't. I thought I had a low volume node there. I don't. But this is a reasonable spot where you'd be anticipating there'd be some resistance, right? Prior support. Got tested here. 4020 seems to be a key level. There's a 250 lot at 4020 up here, which would make sense, right? So why it would be there. I lost my footprint. Okay, who's in trouble, right? So where's the next guy who's got problems? Up here, right? That's not particularly big size, so I don't know how much weight I'd give that. Okay, so now we got bulls fully in charge. Where do these guys? So they've cleared these guys out, right? So these guys no longer a factor. Most likely, right? They've covered. So now these guys are the ones who are potentially vulnerable to getting in trouble, right? So you got big bull push here. You're right back up to that area where we know there's potentially, just having drawn it, this resistance here. Okay, well, it's going to take a pretty big move to get these guys in trouble. There's not huge size here. There's a 370 lot. Okay, 300. Well, you don't know that it's one iceberg, but okay, there's some size here. But not like what we were looking at before. I mean, okay. Pretty good move. But, okay, they're going right into the resistance, right into a potential golden zone there. Or not a potential, an actual golden zone right there. Do not assume it's going to break. Assume it's going to hold. All right, so I got golden zones galore over here. Too many. Still expecting new lows at some point here. This is kind of a conundrum. You see it going, and it's tempting to just go with it. That's never been something that I've been able to do successfully. Once we start here, if you're not in for whatever the reason that would have you in here, if you're not in, I find, coming late to the party here often, right? That's exactly what happens. And what are we hitting, right? There's the open, there's a golden zone. There's still headroom here, right? There's nothing here to say, oh, it can't go any higher, or we're overdone here. So you kind of are watching here. Does it get through zero? Do we make a full loop, or buy programs just taking a little profit here? What was the most telling about all of this was that they didn't get a new low here, because they wanted to, right? They would have wanted to. Sell it? No, I wouldn't sell that. Even though you might get your scalp out, I wouldn't. Okay, let's come back to the McGinley. I wouldn't buy it or sell it, right? You're kind of too far away. So that there's really not a trade there. And I wouldn't want to sell right into VWAP and to a fair value gap. And the 50 and the McGinley, right? So if anything, this is suggesting, okay, we come down here, maybe there's another leg up here to challenge that. I've only got 2 hits here and 2 hits on the low, so this channel is dubious. It's not confirmed. The one that's confirmed is the big one. 3 solid hits. The fair value gap. let's see over here, because one contract would mean you make -3 minus fees. Oh, sorry guys, I'm missing it. I'm interested in what tools you use to trade this one. Okay, hang on. Like when do you make how much money with this? Like where do you make how much money with this? A Vertic. Hopefully I gave you an answer there. Okay, so S. Shannon. So I use 2 contracts, so I keep my risk low and I shoot for 6 ticks. Very well done. That's a good way to do it. Mine, I do a 3 lot. I do scalp targets are 5 ticks, which means you got to get 6 to cover to make sure it fills. And then I leave the runner. I think I have. I can't remember. I think I have 20 or 16 or 20 ticks on the runner, but it's a floater. So essentially it's out here. If the market looks really strong, I might push it to somewhere where it's strategic. And I'll reduce the risk. So here on this one, that's why when we got the scalps out, you don't want it to turn into a loser, right? So you want to at least reduce the risk so it goes to break even. Now here we come back to this golden zone, but look at the nice little second entry here. You see that this is, I was going to try and show you guys this with the Rinkos because it really sets up. But do you see how there's a two-legged here, and then here's we break the low here, so here we come. Now, remember, we're anticipating, because this little correction outside of this channel, the anticipation is there's another low coming. They're going to threaten this low or this low, right? Because they didn't get it, and the trend is still down. So, no, it's not the same, right? So it's natural support here, but it's not the same algo reliability here that's going to fire. That doesn't mean you couldn't get a little trade here. You've got all of this right here, but it's not that same. It's not Madonna, right? Like a virgin. Got to be a virgin IB. So there's the pop, but why is it popping, right? Because these guys are defending here, right? They don't want to let that fall. That, if anything, there's not enough room right there. So you got that's an upside down golden zone, right? That's the golden zone from this swing here. Actually, that can fuck you up a little bit. Let's take that off, because it hasn't broken, so it's actually showing it upside down. Whereas the auto fibs will always show it to you the right way. There's really not enough room here. I wouldn't take this trade, even though the short is potentially there coming out of the fair value gap. There's not enough room, and there's natural support here at the IB. You know, it's a maybe you take it 1 micros. It's kind of it's not a high probability trade, right? You're not quite to the McGinley. There's maybe here. So again, trying to visualize what I would want to see is this, right? If I'm visualizing the trade that I'm looking for, that's what I want to see right there. Break it, come back, test from below. It's much like yesterday where when it gets stuck down here, this is not where you want to enter. You don't want to try and guess here. That's different than if we break it and then we come back to it. So I'm never saying, oh no, it's not a good place to enter here because we're back to the rail. When we break, right, there's that first push back to it. It's when we just waffle around it, right? You don't want to try and trade that. You're just handing money over to market makers and to high frequency traders because you have no edge there. 408's got some size on it. But this is ripe down here, so we kind of want to see this get tested. Second entry short right here, but you're at the IB low. You wouldn't want to take that. Kind of liking can you guys see this? It's pretty cool. I think the red has to be a little bit brighter, but for the first hat, pretty good. Got potential. I think we're gonna do shirts and coffee cups and all the stuff. I have nothing else. I get a bunch of them. You guys can't see. Oh, I have a really cool logo, neon. It's over on my wall over there. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if I could turn the camera to where you could see that. It's pretty cool. It's huge, huge neon version of our logo. I was thinking about making that for sale as well. Okay, so there's a little trap here. So just here we sit, just not much to do here, right? So we can look over here and say, okay, who's committing size, right? So this is that looks more. That's not really that much meat, but okay, what do we do, right? We come back, they defend it, right? So they're just that the stacked imbalance is like, okay, heads up, back to the McGinley. There's not a lot of room there. Okay, so what do I see here? I see if these guys here, if this can rally, these guys are going to be in trouble, right? They're going to have to cover. So this would be potentially something to look for, but you're right into a 50, right? So you're kind of, you don't have a lot of room there, right? You wouldn't want to necessarily buy on the break of that. You'd be buying right into the 50 in the golden zone, right? And we know we don't want to assume those are gonna break. This literally goes right to the tick edge of it, where that 150 lot was. Let's see. Missed you guys. There seems to be a desire to fill the gap today. Ivan, you are right. Liking the swag. Good. I think this is close, but I think the red is not bright enough. So we're going to get that redone. And the swag could be kind of cool. I mean, it's a good logo, so it lends itself to it. Let's see here. Get you out of there. Fuck. Sometimes Ninja's a pain that you can't just... TradingView is so much better where you can just grab it and delete it. Right? So they're right. You can just see it. They're going to hit it hard, right? That's where the footprint will help, right? You're going to see for them to break this, because clearly there's an effort to hold it. You're going to see size dump into the market to break it. And then where would you expect it to go? Well, we know this is a prior pivot in a golden zone. I mean, you are right in no man's land. There is an advantage, I find, to having an RTH as well, right? You get a different VWAP. I get a different volume profile, but I like both. I like to see both. I don't want to ignore the pre-market, right? As we talked about earlier. Shit, Erwin's got to get me that number. I want to say it was 70% of it may have been 70% of the movement of the S&P, of the stock indexes, happens outside of RTH, which makes sense, right? All the report data usually comes out at 8:30, right before the market opens. Okay, so now if they're coming here, they got to bring size. There's pretty good size right there. So there they come, right? So that's right. So I don't want to, if anything, right? I want to see them get in trouble. That's a pretty good effort. What did the tick do? There's more downside, right? So I would not be buying that, right? There's more to come here. This is likely where they're headed. Bulls are defending. Here's a 788. There's still, you'd have to, you're playing with fire here. You'd have to get way up here and then come back to get it. To have some high probability here. They're going to defend that. Okay, so right up into it, so we get up to 600. Okay, right at the McGinley. Look at the size there. They're really going for it. They're trying to get these guys in trouble. Here's the 788. Right, so these guys are already sweating, but look where we come right to the stacked imbalance. That's the defense, right? So if you're, don't look at that. Just that little move right there is 8-9 ticks, right? So if you've got a 9, 10, 12 tick stop, you're likely stopped out, right? So you can't be cavalier about it, because it's just the natural little reaction to the market, and now you're fucked, right? You're fuck, man. Now I got a 3 lot here. I'm in trouble. Now you got to really choose wisely. Or while you're learning, trade it. I always think the problem with micros is people get caught up in the dollars and cents, because they put their P&L in dollars, right? You're much better to keep it in points and think about the number of points that you're able to trade, rather than, oh, fuck, I only made $12. Forget that, particularly if you're practicing or learning or, working on a trade like this. I know the commission is a pain in the ass, right, with micros, right? You start adding, but it's a great way to practice and have at least some emotional attachment to the trade, unlike sim where you're like, oh, fuck it, right? Well, I'll just add 5 more. You want to have some connection to it. Micros are great. I wish we'd had micros back when I was a broker. But I mean, it's a really nice addition to be able to have that. So defense, neutral, right? You're literally at midfield. Now, the other thing you'll get over here is on a time-based chart, we got a long squeeze that's underway, right? So on the 2-minute, we're squeezy. Lack of volatility, which now looking at it here, you can kind of understand. So this is just straight rotation, right? Just up, down, right? So you don't get consistent bars. Well, you got 2 here, then I got 2 here, then it's just rotation. This is not what you want to trade. And what's our location? Right, riding the rail. And in looking at that, this is what I see up here. Oh, okay, I got a fair value gap. I got an order block. I got VWAP. I got lots of resistance up here. I got the McGinley here. I got the EMA here, and I got no signs of buyers. Okay, maybe a little bit of momentum is coming this direction because I've pushed up into it. Technically, we did get a new low here, fulfilling the trend line rule here. Well, let's clear you out. All right, so this low. Let's see how we do that. That's not quite right here. Let's see if we get. Let's see if I get a pivot here. If anything, I might have to draw it this way. Yeah. My view, simply my view, the most underappreciated indicator in our entire arsenal is our toolbar. There's not a chart I would ever trade without that on it because I'm pulling stuff from it all the time. I don't think you guys even realize how much shit is in there. And I think we're doing a rewrite on this to add in some more price action tools. This is a underappreciated indicator. Okay, so coming out of that fair value gap, do you really have an advantage here? Is there really a trade there? Not really. Is there? I mean, you could throw one in there and see what happens. What are you bull or bear there? Do you have any edge there? I'd suggest not. So what's the only thing you could potentially see there? You just hit a 50. So you've got potentially, right? You might have this at play. Right? You might have that, right? So as they come out of the fair value gap, but again, you don't have a lot. There's not how much room you got there. I mean, maybe what do you got there? 7 ticks to the IB low, value area low. It's not enough. Neutral here. You want to try and trade when we're in the red zones. That's where you get an edge. Sloppy here. We're still in a squeeze over here on the 2-minute. There's no reason to force a trade here. It's 11 o'clock. You probably got another 45 minutes of decent trading, and then we go into the quiet period. Let's see what I got here on the IB last trade. Yep, seems to be a desire. I have to catch up with you guys with your comments. I can't tell if your comments, if your chat is that on YouTube? Is that what that's coming from? Looks like, here we go. Okay, so this is kind of what I was looking before. It kind of puts that in here. So remember that whole trend line rule here. Here's the break. So you'd be anticipating that it would go up there. Excuse me. You'd get a new high here, which would put you right into the golden zone, right at the VWAP, and then maybe we start coming down. Right now, that's idealized. See if I can get that out of there. Here we go. okay, there's no advantage here. There's no real edge there. Hang on. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Shh. My trading companions just came in. Ivan, I have market structure, IB, measured move. What is the next indicator to add? Well, yes, it's on YouTube. Okay, it won't be saved as a comment, but we get a nice little window. Okay, cool. Vertic. Thanks, Vertic. Ivan, well, okay, remember, and this is an important distinction, or I try to speak to this, but we get a lot of comments about this, or email or questions, right? Remember, measured move indicator is showing you the past, right? It's showing you when it confirms. So, like, here, let me get this stuff off of here. Like this one right here. When we're going up into that, I mean, that's a great example. I'll come here. All right, so when we're going up into this, right at that moment in time, it's not going to show you the golden zone. What's going to show it to you is the auto fibs. It has to move a certain, I can't even remember. Irwin has this set to where it has to move a certain distance before it confirms that we have a pivot. Otherwise, you'd have a gazillion false signals all over the chart. I mean, and remember, what you see at the end of the day are all the completed measured moves. You don't see all the failed, right? There's a gazillion failed, right? Just because like this, there's lots of failed measured moves. If I had to pick only one, I would pick the auto fibs because I want to know where they are in the future. The benefit when you're learning this algo, right? I mean, you have to build some conviction with it. You have to see it happen hundreds of times. The benefit at the end of the day of going back and looking at all the measured moves that completed is it builds that confidence. So when you see it, like we just got one right here, or this one, or I mean, does it even need commentary? Do I even need to speak to it? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the target. Here's a 50. Here's a golden zone. Here's a 50, here's a golden zone. I mean, it's just not, that's what the market does. It's, as I say, there's probably 500 different algorithms in here. We'll never know what any of them are doing other than the 1 or 2 that leave footprints. This one leaves this big footprint, right? Thank you, David Halsey. Still in a squeeze over here. So don't feel like, oh shit, I got to trade. So if that helps you, Ivan, market structure, because you want to see where, I mean, market structure is really its own self-contained approach to trading. I'm not a purist in any one thing. I kind of morph them all together, right? I figure take the best and leave the rest. It sure is significant for me to see that I've got order block, fair value gap, order block, order block, order block, fair value gap, right? So just those alone make it worthwhile. This is a decent example, right? Here's a break of structure here that goes up, then we come back down here. We get a secondary break of structure. So there can be, there's nuance to it for a day trader, because here this would be an uptrend, this would be a downtrend. So you're breaking break of structure here into a downtrend. Okay, right? So you got to use a little bit of, here's 1 break, 2 breaks, 3 breaks. Now we're going the other direction. So you got to use a little bit of your own judgment there in terms of, okay, how is this helping me? So even, for example, if I take all the measured moves off, right? So now all I've got is auto fib. So all it's showing me is what's coming next. So if I didn't have measured moves, well, of course I can kind of see them, right? You do this long enough, I can just see them, right? I can see they're look, it's just to the tick. But I want to know where the next one is, right? So there, I'm just wrestling with one right now from this pivot to this low. I'm wrestling with that right now. So again, don't look, right? Never assume that's going to clear. Assume you're going to get a reaction until you get a close above it, because you're going to get a reaction. That's the point of the algo, is there, it's going to sell there. Now, what's good about the auto fibs as well is that if it clears, it comes off the board, right? So you're not like, oh, where was that one that I forgot about? Well, here, so I got golden zone, I got VWAP. Now I keep the footprint directly above me, so I would just be looking up. Okay, what's going on over here? Well, here's the golden zone that we're wrestling with right there. We got these guys already. We cleared them, right? So they're already, they've covered. I got a little bit up here. So again, this is how my mind works. When do these guys get in trouble? Is it here? You know, I'm you know, so there's enough distance here from the McGinley to where I wouldn't be chasing the long there. I'd wait, right? I got a decent amount of size here. If it comes back down, maybe that's going to look better. But here, right? Okay, can they get through it? That's why I think this is too myopic, right? For me, I need to see more. That's why I can't just use a footprint chart personally, right? I've got to see more. I come here for detail. I got to see the big picture. And then I come over here going, oh, okay, where am I? Okay, so let's put this back together. So here was the last little, it will help you to just kind of look for this. Say, okay, where's the last little three that I can, get off there. The last little three that I can see. Okay, how did that fit in? Well, remember we had this channel here that broke. Right, we did get a new low here, but now we have the exact same thing over here. I got a swing, I got a retrace, I got this. Right, same thing as we had over here. Now, do we have is this a trend change? It might be, right? If I get 3 pivots, this is where Ninja sucks. It won't let you get in there. That's for trading view I prefer. All right, so I've got this little channel going on up here. Okay, so I got a little micro up channel. I don't have 3 swings, right? So I've only got 2 tags of it. So if it were to come back down, that's where you confirm. You confirm on 3 touches. Okay, back up into golden zone. Right? We drew this before. It's not hard to see it. Oh, okay. Well, something that was support. Now is it resistance? What's the upside potential here? Definitely got upside here, right? We can get up into 1200. Our tick high is 770, so there's headroom here. Bulls are in control. So this area would be of interest, right? We come back to this. So if that were me and I was just itching for a trade, I'd probably take one here, one here, one here, and look for that. Just thinking, okay, if they're going to go down, if they're going to break that, well, they're going to break that. I want to be out. So I might do micros, micro. And if it starts to go, maybe add a full size. I switch back and forth all the time between the two. Sometimes I'll just probe with micros. If I like it, then I'll pull something like this over and I can add over here. Let's see how they deal with that. So they're going to, right, so now as we're coming into that pivot, now I want to come over to the footprint and see what it looks like over here, right? So do I get anybody in trouble over here? These guys are pushing pretty good. So this is 11:15. Back to the open, right? We know an algo will be tied to that, right? They'll attach it to an algo to anything they can. Okay, so look, okay, there's a good example, right? So look at all that size that just came in there. Why? Because they're coming to the open, right? So they know there's going to be an algo there. So they're trying to bull rush it. 367, right? The little defense. That's where something like bookmap can be beneficial, right? So what happened up here? They went into all that. There's all that size right there. Right now, are they going to keep going? Here's the next spot. If they're going to keep going, they're going to just go to the next spot of liquidity, right? And then to the next spot, way up here at 430, right? So up they go, up they go. These guys, so they took some of this on, but then they pulled the majority of it, right? Because we didn't keep going, went down. Now they will head to where the liquidity is. Again, I show that it's not You don't need it. It's a luxury. It doesn't hurt, so you'd have to do the math, right? What I don't even know what it is, baby. Well, I don't think it's $200. I think it's closer to $100. I can't even remember what it is. I think it's 100 and maybe $140 to have data and bookmap. So, it's more cost. You got to think whether or not you really need it. It can't hurt. Okay, so pretty good move here. Right, is that enough for a trend change? Starting to look like it. Well, remember we got the new low here, so this is realized. We got overshoot here. IB high, but see, look at all the traffic they have to get through to get there. Unlikely they're going to get there in a straight line. You got a big golden zone right here, which you see right here. So I know that see, I go back and forth. Sometimes I want it on. When we're approaching it, I want it on because I want to see exactly where it is. Sometimes a little bit off to the side. Okay, I eyeball it. Pre-market high, guaranteed there'll be an algo attached to that, right? So look for a reaction there. Add a fair value gap. This overshoot, so when it does that, when you get this kind of overshoot of the channel that was here, often that means for a deeper, it'll balance on the other side. It'll go deeper on the correction. Let's get that. Pretty good move here. Now, the higher we go, right, I'm looking here, there's plenty of headroom here. This has still got room to go. So ideally, again, back to what's the trade I would hope to see? I wanted to do this. That's what I would hope to see. I mean, I get that, but I want to visualize the trade I'm looking for. So if I put the fibs back on, this actually good example here. Now, we were in an uptrend here, but if I was tempted to sell, look at the distance I have to the 50. So there's room down here for the short, but you're going very counter trend. So you got to get that just right. And I don't know, right? It'd be hard to hold that. You'd want this to be hotter to try and get it all the way that far down. The safer trade here would be to wait for the retrace and then buy it. Now, note where we are here, right? So this is when we get up to these levels where we get over 68, that's an under 32. Heads up, right? Shark fin, right? Because it doesn't get up here and stay there very long. And when it gets there, heads up. Right now, if we start to, well, the other thing, note here how close we get to the signal line. So there's I wouldn't sell that right because you're right at the support. Oh shit, let's get you out of there. Little overshoot. Plenty of headroom here. What did we get? We did not get a new tick high. Hello, right? Don't ignore shit like that, right? I mean, this is like why would you not want to know that, right? So the person who says, "Oh, I don't use indicators," really, that seems kind of narrow-minded. Like that's telling me something. That was telling me something. That was telling me something. When we get to these extremes, why would you not want to know that? I've got a possible second entry short. I mean, clearly the trend is up. I mean, the short-term trend is up. We got to overshoot. But look all this. That's a lot of resist. Oh, fuck, come here. That's a lot of resistance, even if I take the fibs off. Fair value gap, order block, POC, supply zone. But headroom, lots of room here. We are out of the squeeze. Look at the McGinley, right? We come out of the squeeze. What side is it on and what color is it, right? Advantage, obviously, bulls. We got 11.19. Okay, who's in trouble over here? Who's potentially going to get in trouble? All right, I got big bullish action here. I'm coming right into that golden zone at the pre-market high. It's going to take a lot for these guys to get nervous. Pre-market high. Almost every day you see a reaction there. Guarantee there's an algo tied there. I have no fucking idea, none, what it is, but you see a reaction there so consistently. And I got a big golden zone right there. Okay, so when do these? Here's what I would see. Okay, so these guys, if they start to get pressed, they're going to be in trouble. Where's some size down here? So here they're going to try and get these guys to cover, right? So that's what they're trying to do. Come back to the 50. That's what I'd be looking for. Okay, so here's an effort. There's still plenty of room here. You still have that, you got a 300 lot up at 430 up here, or even higher above. Oh, that's up at the damn near at the IB high. I wouldn't be surprised if we get the IB high today. Okay, so we're coming right into this. There's room down here. Right, do you see that gap? There's room to fall. I'm not saying short it, but I'm just saying observationally. Right, that's what I'm looking for. I got 21 ticks to the 50 and to the support. Don't ignore it, right? Getting over that and then coming back down. Still, really, you've got. Well, this would be your second entry here. You potentially got a second entry there. Double bottom resets the count. So here now, this is because it's a double bottom. So here's your. So you're looking for this to come down here and then get another one. Okay, so here's a little fist fight. That falling, right? We're still above zero, but buyers are losing enthusiasm. We see the momentum, but we don't have a retrace beyond 2 times the ATR. So it's doing kind of what you'd want, which is to do. That's what you're looking for, right? If you can get it. I got 1, 2. Ideally, I'd like to get a third tag here of the channel. Let's see here. Let's see any other questions. Auto fibs, is McGinley the next move? Well, McGinley is, it's not going to be dramatically different. You could use, I like it, right? It's kind of sexy, but you could use a 21 EMA. It's going to be very close. This is a 21 EMA, right? This is a McGinley. This is a 21 EMA, right? That's the difference between the two. So they're very, very close. But now you could also, if you don't, I got to get Herwin to put that on the website. I've got an idea to make it more palatable to him. You could use the McGinley River, which has the squeezes around it, and just set it to a 21. So McGinley River at 21 and an EMA at 20, and you get the same representation of what I have here with the. Again, I just do it because I don't want to miss the squeeze. I've missed too many, or like, oh fuck, are we out of it yet? I can't tell. That's why I asked him to do it, to put it right on the indicator. My own preference. Okay, so we're dealing with this. Nobody's overly enthusiastic at the moment. We're just in a little bit of a squeeze. Now it's 11:30. You probably got another 20 minutes of decent trading. Well, we're kind of stalled over here. Well, you wouldn't want to buy it with that, because that's a big golden zone, because of the separation there. That's a big one. That's probably from the top. This is the move here that's influencing what's going on, right? So if these guys get in trouble, but they're going to cover, right? So any bears here see the same thing. Rotation, down bar, up bar, down bar, up bar, right? Just sideways. And no edge here. You're at damn near center of the field. you know, we start to break here, some of these guys are going to get nervous. Opening range low. Again, algo will use anything it can. It's not really I'm not getting much advantage here. Nothing here to work with, really. Oh, that's kind of fat. Do I have my smoothing on? I do. Let's take it down to 4. This wasn't really enough of a break. Okay, here we go. So we look over here. We're going to get a little panic over here. That's what you're looking for. Are these guys panicking? That's not enough size to cause it. That's a little advantage, right? So I can see, okay, what's happening in that candle, right? So here we are, right back to the 21 EMA. On the other side of the channel, remember we were looking for a little bit more here. That's not a good signal bar. It's too big, right? So you see it here reflected in those 2 bars. That's too big of a bar to be looking to be a buyer. So there's your third touch, right? So we confirm the trend channel. So at some point, we're looking for that to get up here. If this is indeed going to hold as the break, we're right at the McGinley and the EMA. Why is it different over here? Because this is a 10 range. And this is a 2000 tick, right? So you're going to be slightly different. Not much, just slightly different. Does that say anything here? Say buy me? Maybe bite me, but it doesn't say buy me. First entry long. I say that, right? I mean, it doesn't mean it can't rip. But I'd want to, this is one you got to be careful of here. It's got to get on the other side of the signal line to really confirm. Otherwise, the potential is that it rolls over. See if I can find something like that where it rolls over here. It's a good bounce off of the 50 line. Okay, so if you're thinking here, oh shit, do I want to do my on the buy side or the sell side? Well, if you're on the buy side, you wouldn't necessarily. I mean, the way I think of it is, look at all the shit I got up here. I got fair value gap, I got a supply zone, I got a golden zone, I got the POC, I got value area high. If I'm buying into that, boy, any one of those things could crush me. If I get down here, I got all that headroom here still to get into it. Right, careful of that. Right, what you want, right? Is again, it's always going to lag, but for confirm, when it stays on that other side, it's because it'll help you over here stay in the trade. Are we crossing? Oh shit, we didn't cross. Oh, we're over 68. Warning sign. There's the shark fin. Down we go. But when you're in over here and you're like, God, do I take it? Do I take it at the double top? Right? Wait for it to turn red. This is pretty ripe, right? If we can come down here because of the same reason, right? We're anticipating if we get the break here, we're looking for a push to get to here. We'll leave it here. We'll see if it plays, right? It's not 100%. There is no certainty in the market, but now that's the target, right? That pivot becomes the target long. Neutral, right? You'd like to get it under 800. Let's see what these guys are doing over here. Anybody in trouble? Looks more like more rotation, really. That's all I'm seeing is just down, up, down, up. Like fireworks are kind of over for the time being. Should I say that, right? And we'll blast off. No real benefit I'm getting over here other than I can see I just went into a golden zone here. I got another one. I've got a series of golden zones here. I'm out of the squeeze though. Devil's volume, right? Shows me where there's big levels of activity on a 2-minute. That's not right. You have no edge there, right? That's not something you want to trade in, right? You're right at the low volume node here, so you have imbalance, right? You don't know which way that's going to go. Rotation, rotation, rotation. I like it a little bit lower. Okay, you got a second entry long there. And a trap, though, so I wouldn't take it. If that comes down, though, I like it. Let's see, questions. Autofibs is McGinley next. Okay, no questions from you guys. Let's say 11:30. We'll go for another couple of minutes. I need. I'll look for, just so you guys feel free to be critical, right? We're looking for feedback, right? So whatever we can do here in these live streams to help you guys is what we're looking for. It's not about me, how I trade, right? I always try and de-emphasize, as you guys probably notice. I never want to make it about me. I want to make it about you. So whatever I can do here, I mean, I have the benefit of being able to use all these tools. So I show you how I use them and why we created them and what the thinking was when we created them for majority of them. But it's what's going to help you the most, right, in using these tools. I do like Jeff made that good suggestion that we feature one indicator. So I think on Thursday we will try and do that. And if it's the footprint, let me get Erwin in to help on that, because I'll get stuck doing something and then I'll fucking crash it. But he knows. And you guys have never seen Erwin or heard Erwin live. Oh yeah, maybe you have if you know his YouTube channel. Rotation, rotation. Boring, boring, boring. Right. So where are we? So we kind of drew this out before. Okay, resistance, resistance. All right, now there's a little activity. Oh, maybe we'll get an IB high. Right? So again, there's a lot to get through. Headroom, plenty of room, right? If just because it's there doesn't mean that they can't get through it, right? Don't misunderstand me. Would you want to? It's an imbalance, right? Do you want to buy right into it? I don't. Doesn't mean it's not. You couldn't just go 20 points straight up. It's just strategic location. Okay, I'm at the pre-market. Well, fuck. What am I? Pre-market high. I'm at the pre-market high, which we can just look at it. Oh, come here. How many times this has played? Right. Oh, I don't want you in there. Pre-market high, right? That's why you want it on your chart, which is the trade-off with an RTH, you don't get it, right? That's why you want to have both. That's what it hit. I promise you it's not random. You got 1, 2, 3, so you're looking for a new high. Shit. You're looking for a new high right here, right? To take out this, that's the target, right? 1, 2, 3, confirms the trend, looking for, here's the break, looking for a new push. Not a lot of enthusiasm down here, right? We rolled over, so that's a little bit of a, if you were long, you'd be a little uncomfortable. You're heading the wrong direction here. Lags, but we know they're not overly enthusiastic. Now we're in a squeeze, right? So there, I don't miss that squeeze. Okay, so they're going to try and push these guys, right? So you can see, you can kind of watch over here and see, okay, well, here's going to be a little fight to try and get somebody in trouble. Who's overextended here? You know, perhaps the bulls are it's too much here. So if the bears can start to drive it down, these guys will start to get nervous. There's plenty of headroom. This is a pretty impressive bar right here. All right, POC up at the top, and they rejected down here pretty hard. Look at that, 182 to 21. So they stepped in here, but it's just rotation. Lots of delta divergence up above. Two down, up, down, up, down, up, rotation. The longer we stay like this, it tends to be gravity starts to weigh on the market. And if bulls can't get a new high, they'll take it down, take out the weak longs. That's why I'm always talking about brooming the weak longs, right? So weak longs are now going, oh shit, do I add? Do I average down? Oh fuck, do I get out? Or that's what they're thinking, because that's what you and I would be thinking. Oh fuck, what do I do now? If I was long here because I bought them again later, whatever, I thought I bought this, and now you're thinking, oh shit, what do I do? Is this just a little retrace? What's going on down here? Right? So you're trying to think through, what are the other traders thinking, right? The ones that are thinking, other than the machines. Where can I see that I might have somebody off sides? I know oh fuck, that double top is brutal. Still looking for a push up to that high. Okay, so now we can actually come over here. All right, so here we kind of drew that in as a location that would be oh shit, I can just use autofibs. All right, so coming into the 50 and the golden zone here, right at this structure point here. Right, there's the break. We are in a squeeze though. Note the squeeze. That's not that's kind of the same issue, right? So even if you buy it here, I mean, look, right? Is that saying buy me? I know it lags, but that's got to turn all the way around here. Okay, how serious are they? That's what I'm looking at over here. That's a lot of traffic. It has headroom. Where do these guys, where do the shorts get nervous? Probably up here. You'd want to see that get cleared, right? That's where they're going to defend. Now, who's nervous now? These guys. We're into the 50. Okay, let's do it this way. At the 50. That's pretty good size. Got a 482 to offset it, right? So they're trying to hold. Bulls kicking. Look at that, right? So here they come. Right to that area we drew out. Well, it's not rocket science. Okay, where was the resistance? Still anticipating a push back up to that, but I don't really have a great setup bar here. Okay, so now do you see what I get here? Now these guys, I get a target, right? So if I can get up above here, those guys are going to have to cover, right? Would give it some legs. Oh, there comes some. They mean business now, right? So do you see all that just dropped in, right, and broke the golden zone? They mean business. So something that's likely news related. What time is it? 10:39. Something Europe just closed, but that's not likely to be just Europe's close. So some news just dumped, or something just happened. Anybody got anything? And down we go. Haha, yeah. 5 minutes Stochar RSI is crossing down. See you, Ivan Rangel. God, that's a familiar name. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to see that they're helping, right? So again, I'm looking for feedback, because I'll focus on anything you want me to, right? Rather than just me talking about how I trade. Again, it's designed to help you guys. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. Okay, so let's look here now. Okay, is this a new? Well, do you remember this didn't look like it was enough, right? It didn't, like, we barely broke here and then we reversed here. So it could very well be that this is just the resolution, right? It could be that this is the resolution here of going to get new lows down here. But you got to keep, you want to keep interacting with your chart, right? Keep drawing on it, right? Put this shit all over it, right? So you get some sense, okay, where am I going now? What the hell's happening now? Okay, well, I got a double top up here, and this was an effort. If they could have driven it, they would have. Okay, so I got 1, 2, I got not quite 3 tags here. So what's the thing you're looking for? Oh, okay, well, if it breaks, I know it's likely to come down and give me a new low. Okay, well, so something definitely just spooked the market. I was looking at the other machine. I don't see any news over there. Well, that's a pretty good break. Okay, so all these guys, remember we were talking about these guys, right? They all had to cover, right? So these guys, right? That's what I was saying before. You say, okay, who's potentially going to be in trouble? Who's going to have to cover, right? Well, when this happened, right, and then it got serious. So now we can look here and say, okay, well, where do these guys get in trouble? Where do these guys get in trouble? Right, look at the difference in size here. Look at all the meat here. And now I got a 49, I got a 109. Now if we come back up here, these guys are going to be in trouble. They're going to have to cover. But you wouldn't necessarily assume. What you'd assume is we'd come back up here, they'd defend, we'd have a 50 in a golden zone, you'd look for another push to a new low. Right, again, we're trying to, okay, there's the break, right? So I got a break, so it implies that, okay, retail may buy that, but more probable outcome is that we get a challenge of this low to get a new extreme. Shark fin. I think he's going to make that an alert. I'm not. I know he's working on that. Okay, all right. So there's a little bit of a, okay, so you see it underneath. Oh, I got a fair value gap. So something, I mean, this is a pretty good reaction here. So these guys are playing defense. Look, right now these guys, who's in trouble now? Right? Can they get on the other side of that? Well, here would be a good target. But don't assume they're going to break it. Back to the McGinley. They're going to defend. Last stand for them would be this golden zone. Here they come. Now you don't have a lot of room there, right, to the IB, which would be the natural support. McGinley. I'll do it like this. Right, so there's the 50. There's the golden zone at where it started. Like this is where it accelerated. This is where they really brought the muscle. Well, little fist fight here. So this, I mean, this is what you see every day. Who's winning the little battle here? Oh, good night, right? Look at that. Look how fast that happens, right? That's why you got to be careful. That comes, risk happens fast, right? Now, look here. This is interesting, right? So they're absorbing that. Let's look over here on Bookmap. They absorbed that pretty well, right? This is where they hit them, but they didn't. There was no follow through down here. Okay, so can they get these guys in trouble, right? That's what these guys are trying to do. Or reasonable target would be up here at 16. That's going to take a lot. That's going to take a lot more size to get them in trouble. You're going to need some muscle here to overcome all of that. That doesn't look great. Remember, they're still trying to fill the gap. Still got all of this down here. Came out of the squeeze, rolled it right over. That had to be news. Something, that happened too fast. Okay, where do these guys get in trouble? Right up here. These guys here, boy, see, that would be a perfect setup for an IB trade. Now it's not the first test, but that's what you're looking for. All these guys are offsides here. If it gets above that pivot, look out, they're going to have to cover. Oh, 11:45. I'm supposed to be wrapping up here. Okay, good little graphic here. Here's the break. Here's the channel. Here's the break of the channel. Do we have a new low? We don't. We have a double bottom, right? So I'd still be looking for a new low. This was the failure, right? You would have been expecting a new high there. You didn't get it. Might have a failure here. This is what's interesting down here. But right, if you're thinking about being a buyer, you should look what our low is, 1123, which is going to be this low right here. They're losing a little steam. Pre-market mid, all of those golden zones. All right, you got a pretty. Oh, they pulled it. Oh shit, this just got dumped here. I was just watching in the order book. There was size there to defend, and they pulled it last second. So 173 got filled there. Well, I might redraw this. Let's redraw it. Since I have a good pivot there, I can see that a little bit better. Looks pretty good here. 1, 2, 3 tags. There's the push to the new low. Now making this a better low, and where do we return at the golden zone? Right, just ahead of it. Now that's the natural resistance, right? So now can I get back in the party? Can I get back in? Well, I wouldn't buy that, right? I got an order block right on the other side of it. There's the McGinley. It might get through. I got the value area low, right? So this will be defense now. They want to keep it in. Once it's out, they want to keep it out. Brings in the higher time frame players. Divergence down here. They're trying to recover. Oh, this is a mess over here, right? So right up to it. Look at these guys, right? You know who's defending there. These guys are defending. Interesting, right? When you can really see, like, oh, where did they do this, right? It's looking at the candle. Do I know? I can't tell looking at that candle all that size hit there. I can over here. I can see the reduction in size between this candle to this candle, which may be explaining why we're starting to rally a bit. Bitcoin's down a touch today. All right, so this becomes the battle zone, right? So we're back to riding the rail, right? Now that's, if anything, that would be a better looking sell. What you'd like there, same kind of thing. Can we break up here and then come back down? Although in general, even then now you gotta sell right into the IB low. You really don't want to be trading down there. You want it to get away from it and come back to it. This zone here is just thick with algos, right? You don't have any edge there. Now, if it were to come down, this would be much more tradable. If we were to come down and then come back to it, that I would take. But when we're just too close to it, it's just a crapshoot. All right, we'll go another. We'll just let this resolve. Let's see if we can get on the other side of that, and then I gotta call it. Jeff, another break at the PMH zone futures, nice. You know, I was asking Erwin TDI Dev about that, Jeff. We can do that with the current volume profile. You can just set the session, so you can get the POC for the Asian session is what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So these guys are potentially now going to have to cover, right? We get them in trouble. Here, these guys all clenching, right? These guys likely very nervous. And there's a good example, right? Is that enough? Is it enough to get them to cover? Well, this is the where you'd really clear it. Now these guys are nervous. I'd pull this over. Can they get them through? You got room for it. Time of day is not great coming into noon, so it might be a little push back towards VWAP, but I wouldn't count on that. Ooh, nervous. They're nervous. There's the break. You'd be anticipating another push to a new low, right to the McGinley, but you don't have room, right? You're too close to the IB. So I would do nothing there myself, even though I can see a clear path for that. The location on the board is not good. You did get divergence down here, right? But volume divergence. My guess is before here, because I'm going to wrap it up here, that we get down to that. Down to get to some of these guys. And this was the big one from the low, from the overnight low. Be surprised if we don't. Now, so I say that, I'd be surprised if they don't, but that means if they don't, right, then bulls have taken over again. Because that's the obvious target. Okay, so here's, we're right in that IB rail. I don't want to trade there. You're just guessing. Just guess. Flip a coin. Heads I buy, tails I sell. No edge. No edge. Times at 12:52. Oh, look at that. It happens fast, right? Quickly, right? So these guys dropped. There's 200. Now, so do you see the equal POCs right here? Right, so you get kind of a target there. So if I were shorting that, I'd put my stop around the other. Well, I might use that pivot. I want to see him get up here and get that. But the location is, what? Maybe you get these. Maybe you get these guys in trouble. These guys will be nervous if you break the pivot of that high. Or if you break the pivot high of that bar, they're going to defend right now. And we're still looking for new lows. That's got room to fall. This would be my guess. That we're headed down here. We shall see. Kind of quiet, right? It's actually more movement than I thought we'd have today. So we have the Fed. I was kind of surprised to see the market take off. That would, to me, if we're rallying hard into the Fed, that's a bad sign. I'd much rather we were selling off. Assuming you're a bull. Okay, so now we're in a squeeze. All right, so if we go into a squeeze here, we'll probably call it a day. All right, guys. Okay, so Shirley had to cover their short calls and probably sold some puts today, but I'm still new to this, so I don't know. Vertic, you're absolutely right. It's there are big levels that I use some tools here where you know. Oh shit! Let's see if I can tell you what it is today. The vol trigger, well, they've already had to cover, right? So 39.90-ish is where there's a lot of premium, call premium. So they had to cover this morning, which is partly what likely drove that push higher today. So remember, it doesn't matter who it is when they're buying calls, which is usually what they're doing. Excuse me. Dealers have to make the market in that. They immediately want to be delta neutral. So if institutions or retail, whomever is buying calls, they take the other side of it, right? They're selling the calls. That's who's on the other side of your call. It's not 99% of the time, it's not going to be another trader. It's going to be a market maker if you're buying calls. doesn't matter who you are, right? So they immediately have to hedge. They don't want any directional exposure. They want to trade the volatility. So that means if it gets too far beyond the calls that they've sold, they have to buy futures to stay delta neutral, which exaggerates the moves, which is why all these zero-dated options are creating so much volatility because of that very factor, because people are buying $1 trillion worth of zero DTE, and the market makers have to hedge that. So everything gets exaggerated, if that makes sense. Not sure if that did. A move up 9% is priced in right now. A move of 9% up, off of the Fed. Yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of get some indication of what the market's anticipating based on where it is at the end of the day and going into the meeting, right? If it's up, they expect it to go down. If it's down, expect it to go up. They're always going to try and get retail on the wrong side. All right, so now we're just back to riding the rail, right? This is exactly where you don't want to trade, riding the IB rail. High or low, maybe it goes here, maybe you get a break, but you have very low odds here. This is not a good place to be trading. Even the McGinley is right on top of it, and you're in a squeeze. Value area low, IB. You'd have to give the advantage to the bears just because of this little channel break. So you'd be looking for this to get challenged for a new extreme. Okay, all right, so we'll call this one done, and I'm very interested in whatever I can do or we can do, or Erwin and I together, or how we can make this better for you guys. Right now, I use a certain number of tools. A lot of you guys have different tools. Is it featuring different tools? We're very open to whatever's going to make this better for you guys. So all the feedback you can give us. If you think it's terrible, tell me. If you just let me know what can make it better for you guys. All right. So with that, we'll wrap it here, and hopefully I'll have a decent afternoon. And I